So earlier we saw the shape of s and p orbitals, and we've already discussed subshells for each shell. So we discussed shells, subshells, and so basically this table is summary of what we know. Like we have energy levels of shells and we have subshells labeled, and for each energy level you got different subshells. Like energy level 1 has 1s subshell. Energy level 2 has 2s and 2p. And therefore in each subshell we have orbitals also. So in this case we're going to go up all the way to the 4th subshell. Yes, there is third shell में 3s and 3p, and 3d also 4 में 4f we have. But we won't study the 4f at all. You know, we'll stick to the 4d. But in all of these, we've got subshells and then we've got orbitals. And orbitals are what control the number of electrons in that subshell. So the 1s subshell has only one orbital, and that can take a maximum of 2 electrons. And each shell will have at least an s subshell. The 3 has 3s, 5 will have 5s, 4 has 4s, and 2 has 2s, and 1 has 1s. And each of these will have only one orbital at that subshell. And each orbital can have a maximum of how many electrons? 2. So the 1s, so meaning the first shell will have a 1s, has one orbital, 2 electrons. The second shell, 2s, one orbital, 2 electrons. The third shell, 3s, one orbital, 2 electrons. And after that, in the second shell onwards, you're going to also have the 2p subshell. And that's the last thing we saw earlier, where the 2p subshell has what? 3 orbitals. And each orbital can have a maximum of 2 electrons. So 2p subshell will have 3 of these orbitals, 6 electrons. 3p will also have 3 of these orbitals and have 6 electrons. And this is where you get up to argon. Now 3d is something that we'll fill up later. That's for transition elements. And we can have 5 of these orbitals. We've been able to label 3p as px, py, pz, but 3ds, we won't label them in AS level. They have labels, individual orbitals, we won't label them. That's the only thing you need to know is that 3d can have 10 electrons. That's all. And then the 4s, 4p, 4d, we won't do 4f. So 4p, 4d will also have 10, just like 3d has 10. And that's how you get the total number of electrons in each shell, because of the p, d's, and f's. So the way you get 18 and 32 is 2, 6, 8, 10, and 2, 6, 10, and 14. Now as the syllabus, we'll only focus on shells number 1, 2, 3, 4. That also till the 4p, 4d. Max, not even 4d. We'll fill up to the 4p only, really. And what are we going to fill up? So yesterday and earlier, we've seen this idea where I've shown you guys orbitals for each subshell as circular, or these what we call dumbbell shaped. The circular ones are the 1s and the 2s, and the dumbbell shapes here drawn is 2p, x, y, and z. Now filling this structure with electrons is very complicated. I mean, you had to fill neon like this, it's going to be really complicated. I mean, who's going to really fill neon like this? You got to fill electrons in the 1s, in the 2s, and in the 2p, x, y, and z. So 2 in the 1s, 2 in the 2s, somewhere there. And then 2 in the 2px, 2py, and 2pz. Which seems very complicated if x's are my electrons here. So we have come up with an easier way to represent electrons and these orbitals. As long as we know what the shape is, we got to use our imagination and then use simpler ways to represent this. And those simpler ways, by the way, happen to involve, such as this. This box right here actually represents an orbital. So we're now going to use box like this to represent an orbital. And we're going to fit in 2 electrons in this orbital. So this could be a 1s, could be a 2s, could be a 2p orbital. Any orbital will be this. And this is called electron-in-box diagrams. We're going to put electrons in box. And the box represents what? Orbitals. Now, this can have 1 or 2 electrons, or be completely empty. And so we're going to use this box, and it's actually going to be easier to represent electrons in each element very easily like this. So 2 x's in this case is how 2 electrons will be in a box. But this is still not a complete representation. There's one more thing left to talk about. We talked about shells, subshells, orbitals, electrons in those orbitals. But what we have discovered is that electrons in these orbitals are not exactly behaving the same way. So if there are 2 electrons in one orbital, they're not behaving the same way. And there's a slight variation to that. And that's the idea of spin. Let me show that to you what I mean. So the 2 electrons in each orbital actually they are spinning. And when they spin, they generate a magnetic field because electrons are charged bodies. So either they're going to be spinning clockwise or anti-clockwise. So when you have 2 electrons in an orbital, within that orbital space, one is spinning clockwise and one is spinning counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. And their spinning charges will generate a magnetic field. And the magnetic field either points upward or points downwards. And so what we start doing is we start representing electrons in their spinning state. So when there are 2 electrons in an orbital, one of them will be spinning, so it generates a magnetic field up north, and the other one will be opposite to that. Obviously, it's a perspective game. If you take a look at it perpendicularly, it'll be right and left. But the idea is that the 2 electrons in this space are spinning in opposite directions, which means they have exactly opposite magnetic fields. And so what we do is we end up representing the electrons not with crosses, but with arrows. And the arrows represent the state they're in. So either they'll be pointing upward or pointing downward. So in an orbital, we won't have 2 x's. So we'll start seeing electrons as arrows in these boxes.
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover at Alt Academy, where we break down every A-level concept with the same clarity. Now back to the video lesson.
It's like this. Remove the dot crosses and add the arrows. One arrow pointing upward, one arrow pointing downward. That's what we're going to do now. Upward and downward. Your notes also have this. But this is our most basic representation of an electron in an orbital. Boxes for orbital and arrows for electrons. And so this element that you have on the left can be represented by electrons and boxes. Any element will be able to. And makes it easier to look. So it makes it easier to work out because we need to understand electron occupants in orbitals to talk about covalent bonding, ionic bonding, ionization energy trends, other even transition element properties, colors. They all are dependent on their electrons. And so it's easier to represent electrons in box diagrams than to do the orbital space, because that won't tell us much. And it's even the subshell configuration sometimes isn't enough, because we want to highlight when an orbital has 1 electron, 2 or 0. Our subshell configuration doesn't give us that. So then hence we'll be using from this moment onwards electrons in boxes to represent electron states. So obviously if you ask you to write the configuration, you will write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 for neon. But you'll get enough questions where they're going to give you electron box diagrams to deduce things. And then we'll also have to use that to explain other things also. So let's take neon, the guy on the right. Let's fill his configuration out. So in electron box diagrams, I'm going to scroll down, and then I've got the same structure here. But on the right-hand side now, I am actually using boxes. So on the left-hand side, I've got the same old structure. And on the right-hand side, I've got boxes to represent orbitals. And you'll realize that the 2p orbitals are all connected. This is the 1s, the 2s, the 2px, the 2py, and 2pz. And now there are 2 different variations. The guy on top is in terms of energy levels. So the higher up you are, the higher energy you have. And the bottom diagram is also useful to save space, where we know that along the right is when energy increases. But this is the one we're going to use more of initially, because it's easier to understand. As you go up, energy increases. So energy axis, and 1s, 2s, and 2p. So the 1s has 1 orbital, 1 box. The 2s has 1 orbital, 2 box. But the 2p has 3 orbitals, so how many boxes? 3. And now we're going to fill this with electrons. Now I'm not going to fill it in the order in which they should be filled in. We'll talk about that a little later. I'm just going to flatly fill in electrons. How many electrons? The 10 electrons for neon. So neon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. And I'm going to fill these electron boxes without any particular order, because I don't want you to focus on the order right now, because there is a specific order in which to fill them in. But 1s has 2, if 2s has 2, and 2p has 6. Up arrow, down arrow, up arrow, down arrow. Obviously, we write the up arrow first because it's convention. It's not like there's always one spinning north and one south always. It's that north, up arrow is a convention to draw first. You can fill this one out the exact same way as fill this one out. The difference is that it is a flat while this is in hierarchy. So that is 1s2 again, 2s2 and 2p6. And obviously, there's a reason why I keep saying I'm not filling them in the order in which they should be filled in. I don't want you to focus on that. We'll get there in the next, lesson. But this is the electron-in-box configuration of neon. This is a much more efficient, but giving me all the detail as the subshell, the orbital diagram is. More information than the subshell diagram is. And this is what I need this. You see, notice all the 2p's are paired. And one of them is 2px, one of them is 2py, one of them is 2pz. Same here, 2px, 2py, and 2pz. But the idea is that we can see, orbital is full, paired, 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 unpaired. Because the real game is identifying which orbital is paired and not paired. And obviously, it's the 3s and the 3p orbitals are in high energy than this. And we'll get to them right now. But this is how you fill up neon. You can also fill up helium, hydrogen. We'll fill them up right now. Lithium, beryllium, carbon, all of them we'll fill up. And this is just an introduction to what the electron box diagram looks like versus electronic configuration looks like. In O levels and IGCSE, you set for neon 2,8. Subcell configuration for neon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Orbital diagrams are now drawn on the right. That's why you will never see this in books. You'll see this in books because it's easier to see and imagine. You don't get to see this in books. But this is to know that this means this, So let's scroll down to now talk about the third shell ka kahani, the story of the third shell. Because an element that has 3 shells, like for example chlorine, argon, even sodium, will have orbitals 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, and 3p. Again, the same hierarchy going up. Obviously, the differences between each sublevel is not exactly drawn to scale. They just drawn so that you know that is higher than the other one. And the horizontal one is the more useful one because it is more safe spacing. But initially, we'll draw the vertical one going up in terms of energy. And then once you're used to that, then we'll keep drawing the horizontal one. The idea is that the 2p fills up, then the 3s and the 3p. And we're going to fill up electrons in this case. So if you have argon, it's going to fill up 1s, 2s, 2p, then 3s, and then 3p. Always going to be having electrons in those arrows up and down. All right? Hey there. If you found this A-level chemistry lesson helpful, why don't you head over to our website, altacademy.org, where you can sign up for the full A-level chemistry course. In addition to chemistry, you can sign up for physics, biology, math, or 4 other A-level subjects. Thousands of students have already taken the leap. What are you waiting for?